Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 11 of the single player Let's Play series. So it's been a little while since I've recorded, but in between episodes I did have a nice hour-and-a-half long stream where we knocked out some building and we also gave the end a quick visit. We also got just a lot of other miscellany done in the world. So it's been a very fun time in this world. We've gotten a lot of good development in. So yeah, I thought I would show you around real quick before we get to the premise of this episode. So first things first, I went through and finished up all of the create quests. Once you kind of get some of the base machinery down in your world from create, it's pretty straightforward to get the rest of the stuff. So here you can see all the stuff I've been crafting. The food pipe mechanics are pretty neat, but I didn't ever end up really using them. For example, doing the blaze and blaze cake stuff just wasn't really necessary. The precision mechanism process, this one, I was able to bypass because I got it as a loot reward. And we've got enough refined radiance that we can make a wand of symmetry, which is cool. I'd like to get one of those real quick, which is also in and of itself another quest reward over here in the building tab. That got us more refined radiance, actually. This stuff is kind of hard to come by, so I will keep it anytime I can. But this guy's pretty cool because you can go through and mirror rectangular or orthogonally, and you can kind of play around with how you want things to go through and select. So it makes it really nice and easy to build stuff. Here you can see, for example, the center of the building construct, and you can work around these. So I've got to remember exactly how it is that you do it, but there's like a whole process by which you build with it. And I've still got to finish researching that because it's been a while. I believe that this will go away after a while. Yep, you just got to take this thing out of your inventory. So we'll keep it over here. Other than that, I finally hooked up our little egg area over there to our refined storage network. So if I look at egg, we have 6,700 eggs, which have been very useful. I've been subsiding on egg sandwiches, and that's been very, very ideal. I made one of these warp plates over here. These things are from... Where did I put it? Did I move it? I may have moved it. Oh, I remember where I moved it. Well, that leads me to my next point. I made a warp plate, but I also worked on a new enchanting area. So this area has been repurposed for just general stuff like the Enigmatic Fortunizer, which has been hooked up to if you look down here, there's a little elite logistical transporter, extracting the output from that and going straight into our system. And then over here, you may have noticed, there's a whole new thing. So I've got two armor stands. One of them has the armor set from Thermal. This is the diving suit. The other one will probably have some other various armor sets. Who knows? And we'll have more as we go. But as you come down here, you'll see we've made ourselves a cool little area. Right, so this area is all for enchanting, and you may be asking yourself, well, I don't see any enchanting stuff, and that's fair. That's why we have this hallway. This area is mainly meant to be kind of like a utility area, right? So we've got our insightful crystals all over here, which reminds me I need to fill this one back up because I went through a whole lot of XP to get this guy. I'll explain that in a minute. But yeah, overall, just kind of cleaned up some of this area, got some of our cool little nifty things moved over. And then if you come down here, we have this room for enchanting with a full enchanting set of books using some violecite from the end and some aurora crystal from the end. And then over here, we have a full library room. This area is where we store all of our books, all of our enchanted books, and all of our various enchanted weapons and tools that we find as we go. So for now, this area is pretty work in progress. It's not completely done. We're probably going to end up having to expand past the end of this hallway over here. But until then, so far so good. I kind of like how this area has turned out. So lastly, I had mentioned warp plate. So this guy's from the Waystones mod. If we go take a look at Waystones warp plate, this guy is pretty cheap to craft. It's just ender pearl and purple dye. Makes you 4 of these. These 4 plus 4 stone bricks and 1 flint gets you a warp plate. You need to make 2 of these because they pair to each other. But this will take us over to the latest thing that I built. This is our new industrial area for the latex fluid processing. So we'll eventually expand our pathway over here all the way out, and what I'm thinking is this will be the beginning of a glorious sort of industrial revolution area where we're going to continue to build in this style with the bricks with some of the more hardened and reinforced block styles. And we'll build with this style kind of going forward, and it'll expand out into this nice big flat area over here, kind of scale up and down some of these cliff sides if we really need to, if we need maybe some momentum in our favor. So yeah, overall there has been a lot of improvement going on for the build style. Now, I built this new structure with enough space to get everything we need to fit in here. So looking inside, ignoring all the plenty amounts of mobs, we have our Latex fluid extractors. Everything in here is exactly as we left it. Nothing here has changed. This is still going into our dynamic tank. This guy's now full because it's just been sitting here. And we have a good we have one bucket of buffer for each one of these. And now we still have plenty of room to put either off to the side or directly in front right here, which is probably the move that I'm going to make. An entire processing system for processing our latex, which is what I want to get into today. So I'm going to take a quick nap to get rid of the nighttime, and we'll get right to it. Okay, so getting into it, we're going to need a couple of things. So let's go ahead and head over into our little industrial room over here. Of course, a lot of this stuff is going to end up getting moved over to the industrial area once we build corresponding spaces for them. For now, I still like to keep this as the storeroom, and we'll just continue to use this as like a general purpose technology and electronics room. It just keeps it simpler that way. So, I know last episode I had discussed doing the at thermal, what is it called? Let's take a look at rubber. It was for the dry rubber in the fractionating still. I was talking about using this guy, and I think this is probably still the move, just because it'll require the least amount of work to get set up. Looks like it only takes 4,000 RF and 900 millibuckets to make one dry rubber. So for reference, that's about the same as if you were to use the why doesn't it ever show up here? This is where I get really confused, is latex isn't properly configured as a recipe, but if we take a look at the tiny dry rubber recipe here, basically what I'm trying to get at is this guy will require water and I think it's a tenth or a ninth of a bucket to make, no, a tenth of a bucket to make one tiny dry rubber. So we can sort of bypass the crafting step that follows, because this is what you have to do from there, if we jump straight into the fractionating still instead. So I'm thinking I'll probably make 3 of these. They don't look all that terrible to craft, so let's go ahead and get that started. I will be needing 3 and 3. And so that will get us 3 of these fractionating stills. I was going to say, I don't think I have enough Invar gear for that. Invar, you have nuggets, but that's okay. Invar can be made in any of the alloying interfaces. And so what we can do is we can take our iron and our nickel, come over here to our crushing factory, crush these back down into dust. And then combine them, like so, making Invar dust. And then we can just take that and smelt it. So we'll go ahead and try to get 2 more pairs. That gets us 3 fractionating stills. Perfect. Now, since we're not going to have any audio or video problems this time around, fortunately, I can actually show you exactly how these fractionating, or the XNet system can be used here. So if we look at XNet real quick, I'm going to need a 3rd connector here. So we'll grab another chest. Let's grab one made out of... let's make actually quite a few of these, because we have lots of acacia. Make 2 more of these, just in case, and we'll grab at XNet, blue cable, and now we should be good to go. Well, actually, I lie. We are going to need a drawer. We're going to need a drawer, and I'm trying to think if there's a good one that we can go for. I think our best bet is to just make one of these guys. If I make one of these, I can turn it into a framed drawer by doing the... Oh, actually, I didn't need to do that. Whoops. It's a... Oh, it's not this either, because that makes the upgrades. That's where I got mixed up. It's just the standard chest recipe like this. My fault. Okay, and now we can pick out some cool-looking blocks to make this drawer out of. This is probably my favorite part of having the framed compacting drawers mod, is that we can choose a little bit further into our palette here. I should uncraft. So if there's a texture that I'm like really interested in using, I can. I believe this doesn't work with tile entity, which is good. That usually doesn't bode well. But we could do something like we have concrete. We could do like a gray concrete guy instead. So we would do this. And that makes a framed drawer that is just concrete, just gray. I think that looks pretty cool. And that's what the fourth connector would be used for. So we'll head over. And I may end up moving this guy using our Silk Touch pick. That way we retain all of the information here, and maybe move it here instead. So what I would like to do is crouch to go here, and then we're just going to put a normal cable there, and these cables here, and then we'll end up having one additional cable going out somewhere to finish, like to display our output, essentially. Unless we wanted to keep this all entirely hidden, which we could do, and then we could just have the one... That could be actually pretty cool. We could just have the one final remaining connector for our drawer right here out front. That could be cool. I think that might be what we do. So let's go ahead and take this. We're going to hook up our connectors like so. And obviously we're going to need to configure this to do some stuff, right? So if we come in here, you're going to see the 3 fractioning stills right off the bat. We're going to want to insert power into them, of course. And then what we're going to want to do is we're going to need to make a third fluid channel. So we're going to come over here and go to xnet:/fluid, create. This is going to be called Latex. There's not really a need to name it, but we're just going to call this frac. And that way we can quickly refer to this and know exactly what we're looking for. So that's going to take this dynamic valve here and create a network where we extract from there and we insert into these guys. Now, looking at this, I don't imagine this will work right off the bat because we need to configure you to input on the top. And that immediately was set up to work, which is perfect. I believe I can also set it to do input and output on the top, and then we don't even have to do anything particularly special. This will create dry rubber, and I believe this recipe does not have any byproducts. Yes, there are no byproducts. So in other words, it's just going to convert our latex directly into dry rubber, which is perfect. So last but not least, we're going to put our drawer here. We will put our connector like so, grab our cable, somewhat hide it away. I don't want to make it too difficult for me to come back and maintain later if I ever need to, but I certainly don't need to make it so very conspicuous, you know. So apparently I never did fill in the underside of this, which does make me feel bad, but nothing I can really do about that at the moment. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make one last channel here, and we're going to make this a item channel. That's xnet item. We're going to tell you to insert here, and we want you to extract from here. And we're going to do just extract the whole stack. And so now we should be getting that rubber, going right into here. And we already have 20 dry rubber. So this configuration is already working perfectly to our advantage. So the last step here, which I'm not going to try to automate all into one big old package, is we really need to take this stuff right here, and as we head back, what we need to do is take it and smelt it into plastic. Eventually we will have a lot of our refined storage network out here or out there so that it's easier to automate this process, but for this point I don't really see any major purpose in taking plastic all the way, or taking the latex all the way to plastic right up front. It just doesn't seem super duper necessary to me, at least not in my opinion. So yeah, I think that definitely works out in our favor. I think we're good there. So now I'm just taking a look and thinking we may want to, let's see, if we take a look at plastic. Plastic has a lot of uses, so and it's not this plastic, it's this plastic. So we can do things like simple black hole tanks, we can get into animal baby separators. There's a lot of things that Industrial Foregoing sort of gatekeeps behind plastic, because plastic is the reparation material, or like the crafting material of Industrial Foregoing. So one thing you're going to notice is these recipes use various tiers of machine frame. These machine frames are crafted primarily here in the Dissolution Chamber. The tier 1 frame is this pity machine frame. It's just a standard vanilla crafting recipe that uses aluminum or iron. But as we move forward, we're going to need some amount of fluid somewhere, which is why we have the giant tank. And that's also why I did not put a void upgrade on that rubber drawer, is because it didn't make sense to me to constantly consume absolutely all of our latex, because latex is useful as a crafting item as well. So I do want to also store latex raw before we turn it all into rubber on top of that, right? So, as you can see, this takes 2 plastic and a gold gear, some nether brick, latex, pity machine frame, and 2 iron to make a simple machine frame, which is used for most of the middle tier items here in Industrial Foregoing. You can take this up a notch and go into the, there's another machine frame after this, that is the advanced machine frame. This guy requires ancient debris scrap or netherite scrap and some pink slime. Now, the pink slime bit here is where things get interesting. So my goal for today, the thing that I wanted to get into the absolute most, was a enchanting, what is it called? Let's see, at Industrial where is it? Is the Enchantment Extractor, this guy. And this guy does, unfortunately, require the advanced most tier. So we will need some netherite scrap, which we already have around. Good for us. But we're also going to need some pink slime. So pink slime comes from one machine only, and that is the Mob Slaughter Factory, which, as you can see, does not require anything too crazy. So we're going to have to get started with this guy, and we're going to need some mobs to sucker in to dying for us. That way we can use their drops and turn them into both liquid meat and also essence, which or pink slime, which is what we're going to need. So we're going to get ourselves one of these guys. That gets us a Mob Slaughter Factory. That is also a quest. We're going to get ourselves 2 tanks. So let's go ahead and craft up extras here. We're going to need 2 tanks. We're going to need 1 for pink slime and 1 for liquid meat output. And on that note, I may actually only bring 1. We don't need liquid meat right now, so I may, in fact, just prefer to go with a liquid trash can for that liquid meat instead of actually trying to keep it with us, because it becomes kind of a pain. So, with the Mob Slaughter Factory, we're also going to need an Ender Gate, because we're going to want to bring power with us wherever we go. And the place we're going to go is the end. The end is a very convenient place to gather up a lot of mobs, specifically Endermen, because you can just create a little platform, which we're going to grab some blocks for. Let's do... Do I have any warped stuff? Blackstone? I don't... It honestly doesn't matter, so I may just use, like, smooth stone or cobblestone or something. Shoot, bricks, that's fine. If we head over here to our end portal, hop on through. Head into our beautiful little end right here that we have. I accidentally looked at a guy, that's fine. Why are you so strong? This guy is special. He has a lot of, he's not even catching on fire. That's interesting. Oh, because he's one of these guys, I guess. I don't know. Weird. Anyways, so we can build a little platform. We have a dragon head here. I never noticed this. This is just sitting here for us to grab. That's important. So, if we grab a Mob Slaughter Factory, this will place away from you. In other words, the front of the machine faces the same direction that you do. This is kind of opposite of most machines and most tech mods, you know. We're going to need the following. We're going to need power. We're going to need a tank here and a trash can here, or vice versa. And I'm going to tell the meat to go into the right, and I'm going to tell the pink slime to go into the left. So now we have everything. The area for this is just right here. There's nothing else that this area is going to work within. So we're going to build out a little hidey hole. And we're also going to do Ender and Scream. You're going to get completely muted. Stare and turn basically all the other sounds pretty far down, because they get very loud, as you probably know. So we're going to do the following. Beautiful. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a lot of Endermen mad. I'm just going to look at them. They're going to run on over. And if I stand right here around the front, they're going to get killed by our nice little machine. So you can see we're going to start producing liquid meat and a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of pink slime. Why aren't you pushing? Oh, you are. It just takes you a little second. So that is how we're going to get pink slime. Again, pink slime here being created can be used, and is used rather, to make this guy. And we're going to need 500 millibuckets. We're already 320, so far so good. This process is usually my go-to whenever I'm getting started with pink slime production, because it is kind of a pain in the butt until you get everything sort of sorted out, because yeah, it takes time to get everything properly set up. Mob farms are not people's first go-to thing usually, so it tends to be kind of difficult to gather up this many mobs. And I'm going to hide the working area. And that got us 500, 560. Okay, so we actually got a good bit. It just takes a second to pull out for some reason. Well, there we go. That turned out really good. I'm going to leave this here for now. We've got the 500 that I need. And again, this isn't super duper efficient, but we can make it more efficient pretty easily as long as we were to do something like an Ender. Those things are pretty straightforward to set up, especially with like Elytra already. I actually apparently have not, quote unquote, beaten the game yet. That's funny. So yeah, I think overall that setup is really ideal. So we're going to take our little pink slime supply here, and we're going to go make ourselves that dissolution chamber so that we can actually use the pink slime in some way. So we are going to need a dissolution chamber. That's going to be crafted like so. This guy's not too terribly expensive, so we're going to need another pity machine frame. I don't need all the buckets that I have, so I'll just keep on using the ones that I've got stored up here. And we're going to need a diamond gear. And that seems to be everything. Get this guy. And so now I'm going to pop it down right here. Like so. I'll just this, that, and ta-da. So this is the dissolution chamber. It looks exactly how you would probably think it would look. And if I right click here, you can see we can put in and take out some of our fluid input. So I'm just going to keep on putting this in. Well, you should be... I'm a little confused because you definitely need more. Well, let's take a look real quick and see what quest items we've gotten so far. Meat feeder. Yeah, these guys are kind of cool. This is one of the methods that you can use that liquid meat. Let's see, the dissolution chamber. Oh, was it expecting the latex processing unit? We may go ahead and make one of those just to get the quest out of the way. They're not too terrible. Yeah, it looks like it really is expecting that. Let's do this. Let's do that. Oh, please use my cobblestone like normal. Let's do that, and then we'll need 2 buckets. We'll need 1 for each. That gets us our latex, and then I'm going to crawl down here real quick. Steal from our sink. So now we should be good to go. If I come over here, give you this and this, or the other way, latex processing unit, and that's also going to unlock this. Oh, I just lost all that pink slime. Okay, I'm gonna have to go get some more pink slime, and then hopefully also having that extra amount will make it cooperate a little more nicely. So yeah, let me go get that real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay. Problem resolved. I ended up tick accelerating the mob slaughter factory too, which made a big difference. So that I'm bringing the whole bucket with me. That way we know we have enough. And as some of the questline rewards, I actually did get some of these little upgrades, and these make the processing of this machine a little faster. Not that it's really all that important to us, but that's okay. So we wanted the Enchantment Extractor, this guy. And so we are missing, of course, our simple machine frame as well, which is something I didn't even think about until just now, is we're going to need probably another bucket. So let's head over and grab some more latex and get ourselves that next tier machine frame. Let me actually, I'm curious, if this guy takes, this guy, I'm going to go and make 4 of these just because we'll have enough of the resources to go and make a good handful. In fact, I may make 8. We're already, whoops. We're already doing very well on our rubber, which is ideal. Exactly what I was hoping to see by now. This will get us a significant amount of plastic, and again, this is just going to keep on growing as we go. So let's go ahead and, in our Dissolution Chamber, take our pity machine frames, and we're going to need to upgrade these to the next tier, so let's take some netherrack, rather nether brick. We're going to need some plastic, which we have a ton of now, and we're going to need some gold gears. Let's grab 4 of these. And we're going to need some iron. So what we'll do is we'll have 1... and 2. And you can see this is going to take just a little bit. So we'll go ahead and speed that up a little bit. And what you can do is simplify your life a little bit by doing the following. So if you do this, you can do something like this instead. And that makes it much faster. I'm going to go ahead and grab that extra bucket because it looks like we're not going to have room for it after all. And we should be good on those resources for now. That did get us a quest for the simple machine frame. That got us a speed tier 1, which we already had. Hey, at least they're helpful. Oh, and we got more pity machine frames. I suppose that's nice. And then I suppose you want me to move on to the advanced machine frame, which is exactly where I was headed to. So the advanced machine frame, like we mentioned, is going to require a couple of extra resources. So we're going to need gold. You know, it may... Here. We're going to make this a little easier on ourselves, right? So we're going to need 2 gold for each of these. We're going to need 2 plastic for each of these. At least I'm pretty sure. I've done this recipe so many times that I'm like 90% sure I've got everything memorized. Yep, we're going to need diamond gear. Oh, right, we actually won't have enough netherite scrap, so kind of a moot point. Because we're going to need 2 for each, and I won't have enough. That's okay. And this will get us into our advanced guy. Hey, look at that, another quest completed. And that will get us some mechanical dirt. This is actually a very good loot reward. We'll get into this in a little bit, but this is one of the many uses of that meat that we were getting, the meat fluid that we were talking about getting that we're not really going to need. This got us another quest. It seems like we're kind of looping here a little bit, but this actually contains meat in it. But that meat can be used to essentially serve as a means to spawn more mobs. Now, we're going to still need the Enchantment Extractor, so we're going to need that guy, and I'm going to need some books. So what we're going to do is grab some from down here in our little storage area. And eventually this won't be so disconnected. We'll have our little refined storage grid down here, but right now we're pretty poor as far as resources and storage and stuff goes, so I'm trying to keep everything relatively lightweight. So that will get us exactly 1 Enchantment Extractor. Apparently that was not worth a loot reward, but hey, who cares? So here's where things get really cool. Let's grab an Ender Gate, because we're going to need it, and let's put this guy somewhere, because I absolutely love these. So I've discussed the Tome of Scrapping a good bit so far, but there's actually, in my opinion, there's one relatively better tome. or one relatively better alternative to that tome, and that's this. This guy's worth the hype. So what you can do is you provide it books here, right? And so that's why I've got everything down here. And if there's an enchantment that you want off of it, off of anything, so let's say I'm working on getting a better sword, so I want looting, right? So I can come here and say, looting. Obviously, this won't have any, but we have one. This is our old sword that we were using for a while. This guy has looting 2, and that's really helpful, right? But it's on this sword. That doesn't help us at all. So what we can do is we can just toss this in here. This is going to, one by one, remove every single enchantment that it has. All of them. None of them are going to be lost. And, probably more importantly, the item itself also is not going to be lost. So now we can have our cake and eat it too, which means we can make ourselves an incredible sword, because this sword is pretty good, but there are better swords out there, right? So, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we could make a refined obsidian sword to match our refined obsidian paxel, because they do a lot of damage. Let's see. And we also have some other things. I don't think we have looting anywhere, right? No. Okay. Find obsidian sword. Like this guy right here. This guy has a base damage of 9 damage, and then we also have other swords and items here from there's what are they, these guys. We have the affix tomes that we can use to remove affixes off of things. And so this may mean we can take this refined obsidian sword and give it the ability to have a base damage even higher, and then move on from there on top of that. So let me look through here. I don't think we have anything. These are all those guys. Cool. Okay, so now what we can do is we can look around here and see, okay, we want something maybe that has some attribute that we're a really big fan of. For example, the unbreakability of this one is probably pretty helpful. I don't know if it's going to apply, and we don't actually have any mythic tomes, so that's okay. Let's take a look at our sword chest over here and see if we have any that are, like, unbreakable. Nope. Okay. Let's see if we have any that have, like, a significantly larger base damage. This guy's just got sharpness. Sharpness 4. Okay, so it doesn't really look like it. Although the faster attack speed may be worthwhile. So we have... Oh, we don't even have any epic tomes. Okay, that is fine. That is totally fine. And this guy, also epic. Yeah, okay. That's totally fine. We can play around with this. But essentially, we had a lot of sharpness on this one, didn't we? We had sharpness 7. If we can find another sharpness 7, which I think we may already have on this guy, right? We can take that off of here. And Smite 7, also very, very helpful. Because with Apotheosis, you can combine one specialty sharpness and one standard sharpness on the same item, which is so super duper helpful. It is insanely helpful to have. So let's see what we can get put together here, because this is already going to be a pretty insane sword, and then with sharpness 8, that's going to be ridiculous. So I'm assuming probably sharpness 8. Oh, sharpness 7 is the max. Okay. Okay, well then that changes things a little bit. Not too much, though, because I think we may have something in here for sharpness, and if not, that's fine. Just looting. Okay. No problem. So yeah, we'll just stick with sharpness 7. That's still way, way higher than the vanilla default. So we will want something like sharpness 7, and looting, and scavenger, and smite, and mending. And now we just want unbreaking, and I think there's pretty high unbreaking levels around here. I just have to find them. So let's play around with that a little bit. Unbreaking 5. Let's see if I actually probably already have Unbreaking 5 on one of these. That's 4, 4. 2 4s is a 5. So that sounds good to me. Plus, this is a lot of other enchantments as well. So let's go ahead and take all of our little sword enchantments here that we're not going to end up using. I'll look at the ages, and then I may actually bring Soulbound over, just because that does sound helpful. That's even more books that we're probably not going to really need. Actually, Vorpal is pretty ideal. And then that's Unbreaking 4 right there. Another Unbreaking 4, that's on a steel sword. I will probably keep that steel sword. Wait, what? What? No, no, don't do that. I like the feature, I just didn't want that. Okay, so, wow, we have a lot of enchanting to do, right? So we are going to do Unbreaking 4 and 4. That will be 5 for 5 levels. And then we have Vorpal. Leech is also good. Man, there are so many good enchantments. What if we did... nope, we don't want those two. We want... That's going to be 6 levels. So we'll do that and that. This and this is 7. And these two is 28. I know it sounds expensive, but it's really not that bad. So this will give us a sword with Sharpness 7, Looting 2, Scavenger 1, Smite 7, Mending, Unbreaking 5, Leech 4, and Soulbound. I feel like we're losing something? No, we're not. Okay. Oh, Vorpal. I forgot to do Vorpal. Let's do Vorpal real quick. That was my bad. That's Vorpal, and now that's going to cost 38 levels, which is, again, it's not really that much when you think about it. And that's going to cost 71 levels. That is a lot. However, we have it. So we're totally fine. I've gotten up to level 100 and then stored it all up so far. So again, 71 levels isn't all that bad. It's going to look like a lot, but we have so many of these different guys stored up. I'm not at all concerned. Now that is one heck of a sword, if I do say so myself. It is nighttime. Is it still nighttime, or is that a sunrise I see? That is a sunrise. Okay. So let's sleep, and then we'll sleep again in our little hammock. And then we'll have some fun. Okay, so I just slept, and now we have sunset going into nighttime. So currently we're doing 13.5 hearts of damage, but that's also not considering the smite advantage. And the reason I chose smite, by the way, is because if we kill the wither a lot, which we will, the wither is undead. So smite is effective against it. Scavenger will re-roll the loot table, so that'll help us a lot with getting some good loot. Mending, Soulbound. Leech will obviously keep us alive. Unbreaking 5 will keep our weapon alive. And Vorpal 3 will make it so that there's a random chance that we do an insanely critical amount of damage to any mob we're fighting, as long as we're critting them, I believe. So yeah, this sword is probably the best sword we will have for a while now. This has a lot of things on it. So obviously, I don't even have to try. This guy's already almost dead. The base damage on this sword is pretty high, but they have even better ones. And we got ahead right off the bat, because Vorpal will also behead mobs, which is very cool. We also don't have anything causing fire, which is ideal. And for all the undead mobs, we are just going to slap them with the sword and immediately eviscerate them into next year. Dead. Got the glass shard trinket. Cobwebs destroyed by walking on them. That's neat, I guess. Yeah, like this guy. Armored. Dead. Is that a sylph? Oh yeah, the carbuncle. So yeah, this sword, absolutely great. And what you're going to see, I'm going to turn off the auto pickup feature by holding B, or pressing V. If we come over here and kill this guy, because we have Insightful, we have a whole bunch of other enchantments, right? That gets us all the way up to 10 already, and that also repaired some of my tool, or some of my armor. So as we kill these guys, we're going to get a whole bunch of XP back. Just for the fact that we have the insight enchantment on our helmet. Yeah, we're gonna get lots of mob heads from this. We're gonna do a lot of insta-kill or one-shot kill using this sword. Overall, this has been very worthwhile. You can see we're leveling up pretty quickly, and if we wanted to do like Knowledge of the Ages on a secondary sword with that other sharpness 7, that'd be a really smart way to get ourselves a lot of XP really quickly, which is what I had been doing anyway. So yeah, overall this has been super worthwhile to do because now we have our perfect sword. This guy, dead. Not even a threat. Nothing's really a threat to us anymore. We have really good armor. We have really good weaponry. Like this guy has 20 hearts. And it only takes 2 shots sometimes. It just depends. Again, the Vorpal is also very helpful in eliminating mobs in 1 shot or 2 shots. Just got a record. So yeah, you may notice some inconsistency in how many shots it takes to kill, and that's just because of the Vorpal sometimes making it a 1 shot, even though it only normally would have been 2. So yeah, overall, this was very worthwhile. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. This was super fun to record, super fun to get everything done with. So next episode, we will probably go ahead and jump into a little more digital work. I may go ahead and build another one of these up. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you enjoyed the build montage that I really kind of forgot to mention towards the beginning of this video while we got everything for our enchanting all set up. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks!